Speaking with Tom Foley, Democrat running for sheriff here in Worcester County, and want to get into some of these issues, some of the things that are really going to happen if you are elected and become sheriff. Day one, you go in there, and I mean, how do you think that the jail has been run over the last several years? Guy Glotis went in as a reformer. Do you feel reforms have been made? Have they been working? Is there more to be done?
Well, from what I'm hearing from inside, from people that work there, Hank, that there's a lot to be done. And I would go in there immediately and do an evaluation of the personnel that are there, try to get a strong team built around me of professionals in that business, and take the people inside there and get their input. I've already done some of that, where some corrections could be made, some improvements could be made. I'll tell you right off the bat, I think a lot of it has to do with morale, and I don't think morale is very good up there right now. The Worcester County Sheriff's Office corrections officer is like second to the bottom on the list of all the sheriff's departments in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
It's such a brutal job, though. I mean, how could you pick up morale? I mean, well, your opponent in the primaries told me a story that on his first day of work, he's 18 years old, he goes in there, and an inmate's throwing feces on him. I mean, that's a tough job to be a corrections officer.
Well, I've been there.
Yeah,
I've worked the blocks at Walpole. I've had the same thing happen to me down there, and I've had people try to stab me. I've had cans of soup thrown at my head. I mean, I've been through all that, Hank. That is why I can understand what these guys are going through. I'm not going to come in and sit in that chair and just wonder what's going on in those blocks. I know what's in those blocks. I work those blocks. I know the pressures and the demands that are put on those people in there, and that's one of the reasons why, right off the bat, I'd like to take a look at the money that they're making. And if you get the people around you to be able to be happy with what they're doing or make their job conditions a little bit better, then any kind of programs or any kind of other policies you want to put in place to make it better, they're going to be more apt to go along with that. You know, it's only going to be a type of a situation where we're going to be able to improve not only the working conditions but the product we put out at the end.
When you have, because I've heard from others that, you know, your biggest political fight may not be with your two opponents that you have right now, but that it is a very political job once you get inside, and particularly when you're dealing with the union. You say you've already been talking, you've been getting that input, but boy, the buck stops with you. I mean, how hard do you think it is to get some of these reforms or some of the things that you want to do through?
Well, I mean, again, I'll fall back on my experience. I mean, I was part of the state police union. I was a member there. I was on the executive board of the State Police Officers Union when coming up through the ranks. I've been an agency head where I've had to negotiate contracts with unions. I've dealt with all those grievances and management issues and all the complaints and concerns. So I know exactly what I'm getting into here, Hank. And I've dealt with corrections officers unions, and I've also dealt with the state police unions. So it's not anything new to me. I think I've learned a lot over the years. That, you know, coming in as a seasoned person in that regard. Unlike when you were on the head of the state police, I was probably less seasoned then than I am now. I know a lot more about that whole process and dealing with people. I think I can work very well with the unions in there. I know my goal ultimately is going to be able to take care of the people that work for me. So, and if we can get together on that, it's going to be a lot easier.
You know, I'm thinking as we talk of this this terrible murder, this quadruple murder that was in Mattapan in this Kamani, Washington, who has been arrested for other crimes, but seems to be, you know, perhaps attached to this quadruple murder. A career criminal. I mean, is there a way, you know, if Tom Foley is sheriff, that we don't have, that we're not putting back out on the streets these career criminals? I mean, is there a time to throw away the key, and is there a time to say there's got to be a program, and maybe at some point in his life he could have been reached when he was behind bars? You know,
at this level here, unlike a Walpole or a state correctional facility, at this level here, they're all doing kind of short time. So we have to take the opportunity the best we possibly can to maybe if we can kind of have some kind of influence on a small amount of those people. I mean, you know, most of those people, 95% of them are going to be back out on the street again, and that's a reality of it. Would you like some people to spend the rest of their lives in jail? Yeah, but not all of them are going to happen that way. So, I mean, we have to take that opportunity that we have, that small time, and maybe teach them some work skills, you know, educational skills, and try to give them something that when they do go out that they're not reoffending. Because as soon as they go out there, they're going to be, there's going to be family disruption, they're going to have community disruption, they're going to be out doing the same crime, and the cycle continues and continues.
What can you do if elected, Sheriff, to cut down on some of the overcrowding? I know that your opponent, Lou Evangelitis, has said, you know, there are people who are there, who are in this country illegally. Why are we paying to house them for a year? Maybe, I mean, you know, maybe that's a way, have them out of the country or deport them immediately.
You know, Hank, that's a great idea, but it's not practical. It's, in this day and age, you know, I've dealt with it. I would like to say that also, but I'll give you 2 reasons why. One, in Arizona right now, there's about 650,000 illegal immigrants in Arizona. The gentleman that's in charge of ICE, Mr. Morton, said, I have a budget that can take 650,000 people a year, illegal immigrants, out of this country and remove them. You know, this is a national problem, and the sheriff's not going to have the authority to just take somebody and send them back out. What we have to do is, practically speaking, is get together maybe as a bunch of sheriffs and a bunch of chiefs of police, and bring them together to lobby our elected officials and say, we need some strong immigration laws here, so you're going to allow us to go out and do our job. You know, when I was at the Lemons Barracks, one night we arrested a guy that was forging documents, birth certificates and green cards. We called immigration at the time, told them, we got a guy here, not just a regular illegal immigrant, but somebody that's actually producing legal documents. They asked us if we had any other charges on him. We said yes. He said, well, get the information, you arraign him on your charges, and we'll take the information, and we'll talk to you later. They just they're not capable of handling that, you know. So for me to go out and promise something like that, I wouldn't be being open and honest with you. It's not a practical thing right now. You'd have to work at the DA's office, you have a law back you to be able to do that, and it's not there right now.
Tom, 30 seconds left. Number one, I mean, the one thing that you really want to accomplish, you've said that this is it. I mean, you know, this is, the buck is really going to stop with you because this is the job that you want. At the end of 6 years, what would you hope, and you may want to run for more terms, but at the end of 6 years, what would you hope people were saying?
I'm going to go in there and do a strategic plan. First of all, like I said, I want to take care of the employees that work there, bring their working conditions up. I want to look at the facilities that have been totally neglected. They're falling apart. They even have some condemned buildings there. I want to be able to get in there and turn that place around. I want to make sure that the public is safe. And right now, the way that facility is operated, with some buildings falling apart, it's a question about that. How far do we let that go? So, you know, when the time comes, I think I'm going to professionalize people there a little bit more. I'll have more training involved in that process, and I'll try to make it a better place to work all the way around. And hopefully, I can get out into the community and do some solid programs with the people in Worcester County also.
Tom Foley, thank you for stopping by.
Thanks, Hank.
Best of luck in the election.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us right here on the Hank Stolz Experience. We're going to talk with another candidate. Paul Franco is a Republican running for state representative in the 13th Worcester District. He's straight ahead.